Great. All right. So, Jeremy, why don't we start with you telling me a little bit more about yourself, your job, what you do, and of course, first of all, thanks for taking the time to actually sit down and have this chat with me today. So, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, I'm 65 years old. I've been in trades pretty much all my life.
Wow.
And, I started when I was in high school, I took
Okay.
auto mechanics and wood shop and stuff like that.
Okay.
My dad was a mechanic. My older stepbrother was a mechanic. He owned his own shop for years. And I would always work there. When I took auto mechanics in high school, I could skip the class and still get straight A's when it come test day because I already knew everything
Right.
that they were trying to teach. They were trying to teach new guys that had never seen it. And me, fortunately, I'd been trained by my dad, my brother.
Gotcha.
So that kind of helped. And then about a year after I got out of high school, I joined the Coast Guard
Okay.
and went in the Coast Guard, and I went to school for what they call machinery technician, which is a variety of things. They call you an MK, but you can work on engines, uh, steam boilers, uh, small boat engines, generators on the boat, refrigeration units on the boat, you name it. I mean,
Gotcha.
the MK did everything. Uh, and I was at
Okay.
certain places that, I was on a ship right out of school
Mm-hmm.
that broke ice up the Hudson, that was easy duty. Then I went a lot to small boat stations down here in Florida doing
Okay.
search and rescue. But also, being the guy that did search and rescue, we maintained all our boats. We had a 41-foot boat with two big 903 Cummins in it, and then we had several outboards, and then we had a couple other older boats that had Detroit diesels in them. And after small boats, then I went on another ship, and that was all, like I said, steam boilers on there, evaporators to make salt water into fresh water and stuff like that.
Right.
Then I was in Key West for years on what they call a maintenance augmentation team.
Okay.
And we had 3 ships and 4 crews. And those ships would rotate crews. So the ship would come in and they say, okay, red crew's coming off and blue crew's going on. Well, I was on the maintenance department that we had to get it fixed between when it come in and when it was leaving. And we worked. I used to tell my guys, hey, I got good news and bad news. The good news is we're working half a day. The
Right.
bad news is half a day is 12 hours. But it was good duty. You learned a lot there. We also, when we got the place, the building that they put us in to
Mm-hmm.
support these ships, it was an old abandoned building on part of the Coast Guard base.
Gotcha.
And we went in there, all of the crew, we didn't hire out contractors. We went in there and we went through the whole building and redid the building.
Okay.
Put doors in where we needed, put walls in where we needed. And it was all just, MKs like me. And then there was a rate called bosun mate. They mainly drive the ships.
Okay.
Electricians, damage controlmen that knew welding and stuff like that. And we basically revamped the whole building by ourselves.
Wow.
We had an older guy that he was a general contractor,
Sure.
and he come in and he told us what we had to do.
How many
So
guys was this? Like just doing
we
all of
had
this?
with all the ship's crews, we had probably close to 100 people.
Okay. Okay.
But the the offices were just for stuff like that. Mainly
Sure.
all the crews stayed on one of the boats. They
Okay.
weren't on one of the boats. They were in the barracks on the Navy
Gotcha.
base.
Okay.
And then
So
I
how
went.
did all of this kind of line you up to get into St. Pete? St. Pete
Well,
buckets.
I'm from St. Pete,
Okay.
so that helped.
Yeah.
But after that was Key West. After Key West, I come I went to Yankeetown, which is just another small boat station north of here.
Okay.
After that, I went to uh, what they call 210 MAT. It was another maintenance augmentation team.
Okay.
We had we had boats in Miami, Cape Canaveral, St. Pete, Panama City, Galveston, Texas, and Wilmington, North Carolina.
Oh my gosh. That's a
And we
lot
would,
for you know.
yeah, we had 15 guys, and we would go to a boat and work there on a week. Stay at a motel and work a week doing all the maintenance they need.
Right.
And it helped us because, well, it helped them and it helped us because we were doing the same maintenance on the
Okay.
boats.
Okay.
We had a list of things, a fuel oil purifier,
Mm-hmm.
they carried jet fuel on the boat. We had to work on the purifier for that for the
Mm-hmm.
helicopter. And that would be a week long. You'd go to it and try to get it all done. And, again, we'd work long hours, but that was mainly just so we could get back on maybe Thursday, take a 3-day weekend before we were gone again.
Okay. So it wasn't mandated long hours. It was just something that you guys wanted to make sure you got the job done and you could get
Right.
back. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
All right. So
and
how
then
long in total were you in the Coast Guard?
I was in for 20 years. I got out in 96.
Okay. And did you immediately go to St. Pete or was it
Well, the ship that I was, or the maintenance team was in St. Pete,
right?
so I just stayed there.
Gotcha.
Like
Okay.
I said, my family, my wife's family, we're all from St. Pete.
Okay. A- And who approached you about the job for St. Pete Buckets?
Well, Mike, I don't
Okay.
know if you talked to him, but
Yeah. Yeah.
he worked for Baker Equipment
Right.
selling bucket trucks,
Okay.
and he got me hooked up over in Tampa at Baker Equipment,
Okay.
and I started working there. I started out in the service department,
Wow.
and then they moved me over right away over to building new trucks. So you
Wow.
get a bare frame in there,
Yeah.
and you had to build it, and
Oh
we
my
built
gosh.
everything up to 55, 60 footers.
And how long have you been with St. Pete Buckets now?
Well, St. Pete Buckets probably about 8 years now.
Okay. Okay.
After what I did when I got out, I was with Baker Equipment for probably nine, close to 10 years.
Gotcha.
They shut the branch down here.
Okay.
So when they did that, I found another job. I went to work at a Monterey Boats.
Okay.
We sold from 22 footers all the way up to 40 footers.
Wow.
And I was in the maintenance department, or
Right.
not. I'm sorry, not maintenance, warranty department.
Okay. Okay.
So any of the dealers had problems, they would call the warranty department, and we'd have to figure out, how to fix it, what it needs to fix it and stuff like that.
Right. So
Terrible job.
that actually brings up a very interesting point. Now, it seems to me like for most of your life, finding employment within that niche, within that repair, motor repair business, um, it was never really, was it difficult for you at any point in time?
No,
No. So,
I've only had one time in my life that I've had to go look for a job.
okay. Wow.
Mike hooked me up when I got out of the Coast Guard, and then when Baker closed down, I had to draw unemployment for a while until I found a job,
Okay.
and
Okay.
that's when I found Monterey Boats up in
Right.
a couple counties up, and went to work there, and then I only worked there for a year,
Okay.
and uh, the guy that owned there was a hardware store in Bronson, and Bronson's a town of like 1,100 people,
Oh, wow.
so uh, he hired me to be the manager at the hardware store, and I did that for about 2 years, and then the town clerk at the city that we lived in,
Mm-hmm.
he approached me to take the job as a public works director for uh, the town of Bronson.
Wow. Okay.
So, and that job involved, we took care of the potholes in the road, street lights. We
Oh my gosh.
street lights we get the county to fix, but like the traffic light, we had to
Right.
fix that. We had to
Right.
do all the mowing, take care of. We had a park with five uh, baseball fields
Okay.
and five soccer fields in it. And my guys, we had to do all the maintenance over there. The mowing, fixing stuff that people broke, the bathrooms that get tore up all the time.
Right.
And then we also had a water tower in town, and we had to take care of all the water lines throughout town.
Gotcha.
Sewer lines we had all through town, and then the sewer plant. We had to maintain the sewer plant and all the lift stations.
Yeah.
And
Okay. So now I wanna rewind a little bit to something that you mentioned. So you've been essentially in trades your entire life because it's something that you grew up around, it's something that you knew. Was
right.
there ever a time going through high school where you had that choice between, hey, should I try to pursue a different type of career path or just stick with the
Well,
trades?
I could have, but you know, school was a little, you know, I won't say I got good grades,
Right.
but I didn't like school that much.
Yes.
And my last 2 years of school,
Yeah.
I was working at a large Goodyear store
Okay.
that takes up a block and a half. And I would leave school. I didn't play no sports in school or none of that stuff.
Right.
I would go to work
Okay.
and I'd work. I even had the owner of the store tell me, he says, "Okay, I got to cut your hours." I said, "Why you got to cut my hours?" Because I was two of my classes counted as work. Well, I'd go to work early. I'd get out of
Right.
school early, go to work, and then I'd work till 9 o'clock at night when the place closed, and then I'd work on the weekends. And I was getting more hours than full time employees that he had there. I'm just supposed to be part time. I'm like, oh, I don't want to come.
Right.
And
Okay.
but
So it
that
was
guy
always
there,
just something that, you
and he
knew.
was hard to work for, and
Okay.
I ended up quitting that job. And my
Okay.
dad worked there. My dad ran the whole
Wow.
tire section.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I go home, and after I quit, my dad's like, "I hope you got another job." I said, "Well, I do, Dad." I said, "Actually, I'm going to work for the airport limo zine place right across the street."
Right, right,
And it
right.
was, when I say airport limo, they called it the limo,
Okay.
but it was Ford Econoline vans where they go house to house and
Right.
pick up several people and then take them to the airport. So we had a fleet of vans and a few buses we had to work on.
Okay.
And I went to work there as a mechanic's helper,
Okay.
but I
So
only did that for a year.
essentially all of the training that you've had has been through your own personal experience. And then of course the Coast Guard did a lot of very specific training. Would you, is there such a thing as being uh what is it, like a different levels going up in this type of trade skill, or is it just
Yeah, yeah, you have to learn. You can't just, if a guy walked in here, I'm not gonna be able to send him out on road calls and stuff like that because
of
you
course.
have to learn the whole system. And that was with anything I did,
Right.
when and I also will point out that I did a lot of this before Google.
Okay. Okay.
My son, he Googles everything. You know,
Right.
Dad, how do I do this?
I mean, I'm guilty of that myself, so yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I am too now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great. I wish I had it back then.
Right.
But I basically I learned uh from older people.
Right.
In the Coast Guard, there were senior guys in the Coast Guard that I worked for that taught
Right.
me stuff. And I actually, what was it I saw a while back? It says if an old man's sitting on the tailgate of his pickup truck,
Yeah.
cutting an apple with his knife, his pocket knife, and eating the apple right there, listen to that guy
Okay.
because he knows what's going on in the real.
Duly noted.
And I've done that. I had a man tell me I was complaining about my feet one day.
Right.
He goes, "What size shoes you wear?" I said, 10 and a half.
Yeah.
He goes, he goes, go to 11. I'm like, well, we're 10 and a half. He goes, try an 11 and a half. Well,
Right.
I bought an 11 and a half pair of boots
Yeah.
and started wearing them. My feet started hurting a lot less.
Hmm.
And this guy, he's now 70, I think he's 78 years old now.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, Aaron's the
You,
old man that told me what to do. I'm going to try it.
yeah. He knew what
And
was up. Was he on the back of a
also
pickup?
I was raised till up to sixth grade by my grandparents
Okay.
because my dad was also in the Coast Guard.
Gotcha.
And me and my brother, our mother left us with an aunt. My
Okay.
dad come back from Alaska, got us, brought us back to Florida, and I lived with my grandmother too. Like I
Okay.
said, sixth grade. So,
Now, in terms of so that obviously this is the lifestyle that you've had the entire time. It, I think a lot of the misconception about the trades is that people think, it's especially younger people, they think that having trade skills, seeking out a career in trades is something that they're never going to have a comfortable lifestyle. It,
you're wrong.
thank you. It saved me having to figure out a way to ask that question. But tell me, like you are comfortable in your lifestyle?
Yes. I
Yes.
live in I got a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
With, mine actually has 2 garages. When we found this, I told my wife, I want 2-car garage.
Okay.
Well, I was on the road working and she found it. She says, I found one, but it's got 2-car garages,
Yeah.
but one's in the front and one's in the back.
Okay.
I said, okay, I can. And I mean, the house had been completely redone,
Right.
and I wanted a house in St. Pete because of
Sure.
hurricanes and everything. You
Sure.
have to have flood insurance.
Right.
So I'm in Pinellas County. I don't know where are you at.
So right now I'm in Virginia, but initially, yeah, I was
Oh,
in Orlando. I was in Orange County.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in St. Pete,
Okay.
and I am in one of the highest parts of Pinellas County.
Okay.
So I don't have to have
The
homeowner, or I have to have homeowner insurance.
but
I
not
don't
the
have to have flood
flood
insurance.
insurance. Okay.
But I've done, me and my wife, we live pretty comfortably. We got one son, one
Okay.
granddaughter. Uh, she drives a nice vehicle. I drive a nice vehicle. I've got a nice camper in my backyard.
Sure.
I got a Harley in the garage.
Very nice.
I've got a 81 Corvette in the garage.
Very nice.
So unfortunately, the Corvette I got from my younger brother, but it's mine now. But no, yeah, I live comfortable. I'm not
Okay. And you
I'm
get a
not out
chance to
blowing money.
enjoy all of the hard work that you've put in, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You see, that's the thing. I think there's just this stigma going around that people think, oh, if I'm in the trades, I'm never going to be able to enjoy myself. I'm never going to be able to have a good life. And yeah, everyone that I've talked to so far says the complete opposite. It's no,
Yeah.
you get to have a good life.
Yeah.
You
And
get
I
to
know,
enjoy.
the people I know are in trade.
Yeah.
I got, guys that do put underground cable in the ground.
And you never had to, well, I mean, I don't know, but I'm asking you, did you ever have to have that 4-year college debt?
No,
There you go. Yeah. Never had to worry about it.
Yeah, I went to a couple trade shows, or not
Yeah.
shows, trade schools
Yeah.
in the Coast Guard.
Okay.
But I learned a lot in the Coast Guard, but the majority of what I learned is just from doing the job.
Hands on. Yeah.
Yeah, this thing.
Okay.
I can, and the good thing that I tell these younger kids, you know, I had a nephew, he was working for a guy doing drywall,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't like it, but that was the only job he could find.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, Josh, I said, just do it till you find something else, but
Right.
learn what you're doing.
Right.
I said, I said, look at me. I said, I go to my house. I don't call a plumber. I don't call a carpenter. I don't call an auto mechanic. I
Mm-hmm.
do it all myself.
Yeah.
And it's because I learned just going out there and listening to people and watching them and
Yeah.
asking questions. And
And that's such a valuable thing to have. It first of all, finding plumbers, electricians, auto mechanics, it's difficult at best to find someone that
they
could take
make
you
good
on.
money.
And then they make good money off of you, right? So it's one of those things where having those skills, even if you don't choose, and you can tell me if this is a good way of thinking about it or not, just having those skills and having your own life, they go hand in hand.
Right.
Yeah. So um I mean that's fantastic. That's great. Now speaking on that point too, with you mentioned that you work with a lot of younger people and stuff like that. How has it been for you, and what has your experience been trying to find younger people to get into your line of work or adjacent lines of work that you know of?
I would say the biggest problem
Hmm.
is the younger generation's whole attitude.
You think so?
I think that's a large part of it. A lot, you got the ones that think they know everything
Sure.
and come to find out, well, you don't really know everything you think you know.
Sure.
And then you got the ones that just don't want to learn. They don't want to listen.
Hmm.
I've butted heads with a couple of them here. And
Really?
I've won, I guess you would call it, because
Yeah.
we went head to head. There's one, me and him almost fist fight.
Wow.
We were, and now he understands where I'm coming from. I understand where he's coming from. He's trying to learn
Right.
and he's doing a lot better. He's doing, I go home and tell my wife, I said, you wouldn't believe what, I won't mention his name.
No
But I
problem.
said,
Yeah.
he's turned around.
Wow. But that took some time.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years.
Okay.
When I got into it the first time with him, his grandmother, who was Mike, the owner's wife,
Okay.
she says, well, you shouldn't have done that, what I did. And I told her, I said, no, apparently I should have done it earlier
Oh my gosh.
because he's learned from it. And
Right.
to his side, the kids had a rough life. He didn't have
Okay.
parents like I had parents and
Right.
grandparents.
Right.
So, and you got to take that into consideration when you're dealing with somebody.
Of course.
What was their, how did they grow up? What was their situations?
Right.
So I'll ask them. I mean, fortunately here, every kid that's younger than me in here,
Hmm.
I've known them since they were born,
Wow.
and I'm trying to teach them. Look, you can do this. And they're not. One of them would probably be all right in college, but the other
Hmm.
two, no, they're not college material.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to teach them. Look, if you want to do this, and I tell them when they come in here,
Hmm.
if you don't want to do this, don't waste my time.
Sure.
Go find something else to do. I don't care what it is, but don't waste my time and your time
Yeah.
with me and some of the older guys in the shop, Greg and Dan.
Right.
Don't waste our time trying to teach you something if you're not willing to learn, because all that's going to do is irritate me. And why am I bothered?
Of course.
If
Yeah.
a guy comes in, I got a granddaughter. Okay, she's 14 years old.
Okay.
When she was 10 years old, she knew how to tile a wall. And I
Wow.
have video of her tiling a section of wall in my kitchen.
That's amazing.
And I mean, I told her, okay, you got to mix the thin set and blah, 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 put it
Right.
up. She did that. I said, okay, tomorrow morning, now we got to put the grout
Right.
in. And there was a section underneath the microwave. And I let her do the whole thing at 10 years old. And she
That's
listened to
such
me.
a
She
good
did it.
skill to have.
I'm putting up a fence in the backyard, a privacy
Right.
fence,
Yeah.
and the gas powered auger would go down so far, but I needed to go down a few more feet.
Okay.
So I'd do the majority of it, the auger, and then get a post hole there. And she comes up, she says, she calls me Grady. She says, Grady, can I do that? I said, I only got the one post hole there. No, you don't. There's another one in the shed. I'm like, there is? And she goes to the shed and pulls out a post hole digger. And so she starts digging for it. Right? She
There
was
you
probably
go.
about 12 then.
Wow.
But I teach the girl because I only got a girl granddaughter. I don't have no
Sure.
grandsons. And I teach her that you can do this, Catherine. You know, I put new tires on my camper.
Right.
When to put it back on? She put the tires on, put the lug nuts on and everything, right? And that's
That's
just, you know,
incredible.
if she wants to go to college, fine, go to college. I'll help you pay for it. You can go to
Right.
college. But I want you to know this stuff
Exactly.
so you're not the college guy sitting there going, Googling plumber,
Right.
plumber to fix a plumber to fix a running toilet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And that's again, it's such good life skills to have. And it's
oh,
not something that is, and again, she's learning this when she's 10 years old, 12
yeah.
years old, right? So, no, good. I mean, good on you for teaching her that. That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. But
She's, she's pretty
yeah, I
cool.
think so yeah, so you're working with these guys, you have these guys in the teaching them, bringing them up. Um but finding new people to come in now. I know when I spoke to Mike told me that one of the biggest challenges that he has too is getting people interested enough to take up some of these jobs, come in to become these technicians, come in to be, to be able to fix it. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
Yeah, you got to have somebody that wants to do it. And
Okay.
like Lakeisha was gonna put an ad somewhere for hydraulic technician.
Right.
Well, and I told her, I said, Lakeisha, I said, in my opinion, we're not really hydraulic technicians.
Okay.
I said, if a hydraulic technician would be a guy that works on hydraulics every day.
Right.
Okay. What we have here is more of uh, a fleet maintenance technician.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sure they told you what we do. We take care of
Hmm.
spectrum here in Florida from here to the other coast, from Lecanto down to Manatee County, and from
Right.
Melbourne all the way up past Daytona.
Right.
They've got over 600 bucket trucks that we work on.
Wow.
Now, there is hydraulics involved in operating the bucket truck,
Right.
but we also have wiring issues and stuff
Hmm.
like that. We have, I couldn't even begin to count the vans they got that get tore up ladder racks, and you got to fix the ladder racks, and you got to know how the ladder rack is supposed to operate.
Right.
And so it's more of a, like I said, a fleet technician, fleet maintenance technician.
Okay.
And she agreed with what I said when I explained to her. I said, if you advertise for a position of hydraulic technician or
Hmm.
hydraulic mechanic,
Hmm.
you're gonna scare some people away that don't want to be a hydraulic mechanic.
Sure.
And when I was in the Coast Guard, I was a diesel mechanic.
Okay.
I don't work with diesels.
Okay.
I had to do it. They're dirty. They're nasty. I don't like it. Hydraulics are clean.
Right.
It's a closed system. It doesn't
Yeah.
get like, my hands are still like fairly clean.
Right.
But from years in the Coast Guard, it's just, God, I'd wash my hands and it was like no good.
Wow.
That was diesel. I'm talking bigger diesel engine, most of it.
Right.
We had um, the one ship I was on, the pistons were about 15, 16 inches in there.
Wow.
And that's a 16-cylinder engine. And there's two of
Wow.
them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. But I did stuff like when I was on the ship, I was the guy that was put in charge of testing the JP5 fuel for the helicopter when we
Okay.
carried the helicopter with us.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, the chief that I work for, he takes me up there and he shows me how to do it. So I
Right.
do it. I said, okay. We go to Gitmo for uh, what they call it's like every year you had to go get, or every year and a half, I think you had to go to Gitmo.
Okay.
And it's nothing but training for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And a little bit of beer.
Mhm.
But it's all Navy inspectors, and the Navy inspector brings me up there, and I have to show him how to inspect the JP5. And pilots freak out if you got dirty fuel. So I go up there and I show him how to do it. I do the complete test, and he gets all done. He goes, "Okay, where's your certificate?" I said, "What certificate?" He goes, "You don't have a certificate for going to school for this?" I said, "No." He goes, "Well, you can't do this unless you have a certificate." I said, "I don't have a certificate, dude." He goes, "Well, you can't be doing this." I said, "Well, you need to tell my chief."
Yeah.
So I called down to the chief's mess, said, "Chief, you need to come up here to JP5." So he comes up there, he walks in and asks the guy, he goes, "What's the problem?" He goes, "He hadn't been to school for this." The chief says, "Did he do anything wrong?" "No, he did everything fine." She says, "Okay, what's the problem?" "Well, he's got to go to school." She goes, "Why'd he go to school? He already knows how to do
He
it."
already knows how to do it.
And he goes, "Well, that can't happen. Who has a certificate?" She says, "I have one, and I taught him how to do it."
Right.
"Well, you can't do that." She says, "Okay, well, I guess you don't have to do it no more, Dunford. I'll do it." And the Navy guy walked away, and the chief looked at me and goes, "You just keep doing it." Because I never had a pilot freak out over the fuel we put.
Right.
Because you have to take a jar up there, like a big mason jar.
Yeah.
You got to spin it and hold
Okay.
it up to them, and that way you can see any particles that are floating around.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, and
Huh.
you had to look at the fuel before it went in the helicopter, and then bring him a sample after it went in the helicopter.
Okay. Okay.
So, and I did one time on April 1st, walk up there and I handed the flight crew guy a bottle that I'd spit in. I bet he goes, "You spit in it, didn't you?" He goes, "Watch this." He goes over to the pilot and he's spinning the bottle. He hands the pilot to the pilot. The pilot freaked out. "Oh, we're gonna drain all the fuel." And then like he goes, "It's April Fool's Day." He spit on it, the screw us. "Well, we need a good sample." He goes, "I already seen the good sample. It's fine."
Well, at least you guys had some fun with it. Oh my gosh.
Hey, when you get
So
underway for 8 weeks at a time,
yeah, yeah,
you make your own fun.
exactly. You got to get your kicks where you can.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, okay, so we've talked a little bit about, the attitude that young people have coming in, and we've talked about just finding people, the right kinds of people to come in. Uh, and you mentioned that Lakeisha was going to put out an ad. Now, aside from doing that, has there been any other ways that your business or businesses that you know of that are facing the same kind of problems, that they've tried to attract younger people or just attract, the right kinds of people? What are the methods that they're currently using to do that?
Well, here we've had a couple guys that come and work here, and they didn't work out.
Okay.
Uh,
You mind saying why?
well, the one guy, when I first come to work for him, because Mike's my brother.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes,
Okay.
that's how I got this job. Right.
Gotcha.
He called
Okay.
me when I was working at the town of Bronson to come back to work.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I mean, the town of Bronson job that I had,
Hmm.
it was a great job, but the only problem there was I worked for 5 people on the city council,
Okay.
and they didn't know nothing. They made me have a real bad taste for politicians.
Wow.
And the guys that they hired, I had no say so in hiring. That
Okay.
was all like kinfolk and stuff.
Okay.
But if it wasn't for the politicians, I'd probably still be there.
Right.
And the town clerk, who I worked with, was real good. She'd still be there, and the assistant town clerk would still be there.
Okay.
And we all worked together. We got along great. I used to call them wife number 2 and wife number 3, and people go, "What?" I said, "What's a woman? What's a wife other than a woman that tells you what to do?" I've got three of them.
Oh my
But,
gosh.
but when Mike called me, it was just, I was at a point where I was just tired of it. And I'd built a house up
Oh wow.
there, and we decided to just move back here because my younger brother lived up there, but he had died. So me and my wife moved back down here.
Gotcha.
And when I first come to work for Mike, we had a kid working here. And all he was really doing was putting ladder racks together.
Okay.
And he would come strolling in at, you know, 9:30, 10 o'clock. You know, I'm getting here at 7 in the morning. He's strolling
Mm-hmm.
in at 9. And then he put ladder racks together. And then the next thing you know, he'd be gone. Like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, so Mike said, we need to get rid of him. And Mike says, well, he's a contractor. I said, well, he said, so I can't fire him. I said, you can tell him you don't need him no more. So Mike didn't want to do that. So I kind of got a little rough with the guy and made him decide that he needed to quit.
Right.
I
Gotcha.
will admit I'm hard to work for.
Right.
And it's mainly because I'm the kind of guy that if I'm trying to teach somebody and they're just not getting it,
Yeah.
I want to push them away and just let me just do it and get it done.
Right. Right. Right.
But that's the biggest thing is we got to find guys that are mechanically inclined a little bit and
Right.
want to do something like this. You know, the
Yeah.
guys that know that they're not going to do anything in college.
Yeah.
It's just not for them. And that was me. You know, when I got out of the Coast Guard or out of high school, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not joining a college because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not for me. And he said,
So okay.
I went
So
down to the
how
recruiter.
how have you been finding those guys?
Well, right now, the guys we got, the senior guy we got, excuse me, over the shop and everything,
Mm-hmm.
he used to work for Spectrum,
Okay.
and he was I don't know what his job title was, but he worked right underneath the fleet manager for the
Gotcha.
whole state of Florida, and he ran the garage over in Tampa,
Gotcha.
and they did mainly working on automobiles, on the bucket trucks and the vans,
Right.
but just chassis and engine stuff. They
Right.
didn't mess with the booms.
Right.
You know, that's what Mike did. And then when I met Greg, we would go there, you know, and I used to be over at Hillsborough County all the time because Greg would call us, say, hey, when the dish fixed, when the dish fixed.
Right.
And then Charter went to, you know, they had their own garages and their own employees.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then they decided that, okay, we're going to contract this out to another company. And that company agreed to hire all the mechanics that were working. Well, Greg, like I said, he was a supervisor. He's a mechanic, but he was a
Mm-hmm.
supervisor. And he wasn't on board with that dude. So he ended up coming to work for us.
Gotcha.
Now, he didn't really know bucket trucks like me and Mike did.
Right.
Like I said, I got out and I did for 10 years, I built bucket and worked on
Right.
it before I left when Baker shut down and went to the warranty department at the boat. But Greg's good mechanically inclined, you know, and he gets it. So it was easy for Greg to just grab
Yeah.
it and
To
run.
pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so, you know, if it wasn't for Greg some days, I just like lose my mind, you know. But he's like me. He's the same kind that he has to catch himself saying, I'll just do it myself instead of, and I get on him. So sometimes I get on him, but I talk to Greg. I don't like coming down here and seeing you work and
Right.
when I'm standing there watching.
Just
Put
watching.
him down there. Greg goes, well, I said, I know it's frustrating. I said, I got
Yeah.
the same problem. I
Yeah.
said, but we got to do it. They got to learn how to do this. You and me ain't gonna be here. And I tell all the boys that we got here, you need to learn this. You'll make money in this business. There's not that many people out there to do this.
Right.
So
Now that is also an interesting point because what that's the whole thing, right? There is a trade skill deficit right now, and not just with the not just with the technicians like this, but across the board. Which is why you can attest to this, that plumbers, electricians, woodworkers, those guys make a ton of money. It's because, they're very few and far between. Now, what do you think, in your experience, what do you think is going to happen if a problem like that continues to build and nobody really does anything about it?
Well, the skilled guys that you need to do stuff,
Hmm.
they're going to find out that they can make more money doing it
Right.
because there's not that many people doing it. So it's
Right.
basically, your supply and demand. Yeah,
Hmm.
these guys, these people are demanding they need this work done. And these guys over here are supplying and say, well, okay, we'll do it, but you're going to pay me to do it. And you're
Right.
going to pay me good to do
Yeah.
it. Because, uh, what was I, where was I going?
Well, the cost is going to go up, right?
Right, the cost for
Yeah.
them, the cost for other people is going to go up,
Yeah.
and you're not going to be able to find this many people.
Right.
You call, hey, I need a plumber. Yeah, okay, I can be there in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, my toilet's flooding right now. Well, I can be there in 2 weeks because
And
they'll be booked up. Our shop right here, we stayed booked up. Yeah. We got, I forget how many feet this is supposed to be. We got a good sized building,
right.
and it's full of trucks in
Wow.
different stages of repair. And then I got a Spectrum
Hmm.
and Lightspeed, which are two of our biggest customers.
Hmm.
Lightspeed is a contractor that runs the cable from
Okay.
pole to pole, and they're our biggest. And then we have uh, tree trimming companies, these subcontractors for Lightspeed that are on their own,
Right.
sign companies, electric companies, and they all bring their stuff to us and they want it done right away.
Right
And we
away. Of
understand that
course.
is,
Yeah.
this is a small guy. He's losing money if his truck's sitting in our shop.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
we do everything we can to turn him around and get his truck back there.
Right.
We have a competitor here in town.
Yeah.
You take your truck there, your truck's gonna be there for 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh.
Where I've had trucks that come in here, hey, I got this problem, and we fixed it within a day or two.
Wow.
We have other shops that we deal with
Hmm.
that are real good with us. There's a guy that rebuilds cylinders. We don't rebuild cylinders here
Okay.
because of the liability issue.
Right.
So he does cylinders, and that's all he does pretty much is rebuild cylinders and pumps.
Okay.
And he just built another building next to his first building,
Wow.
and he's got them coming and going left and right. But we work with him so well that I can drop off a cylinder, and this is actually happening. I drop off a cylinder to get rebuilt,
Hmm.
and then he's over in Tampa, so it takes me about 30 minutes.
Right.
And I'll do, if I got to go to another battery place or something
Hmm.
like that, maybe it takes me 45 minutes to an hour to get back here to our shop.
Wow.
I've actually dropped the cylinder off, got back to the shop, and 5 minutes later, I get a phone call saying it's broken. I could have sat in my truck and listened to
you could have
music for
just
30 minutes.
you could have just
You
sat
know?
in your truck, sat in the back, cut an apple with a knife, and just
Right.
had
And he,
yeah.
he puts us in front, and we tell him, I'll tell him, Nelson, can I get this in a hurry? And he'll
Yeah.
go, yeah. I said, no problem. But if
Wow.
it's just something that don't need to be in a hurry, I don't rush him.
Of course. Yeah.
One guy said here, he was going to send one of the kids over there with a cylinder and tell him, go over there and just tell him you'll wait for it. I said,
Okay.
no, 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 no. I said, you don't tell that man how to run his shop. I said, I'll take it over there and I'll
Right.
ask Nelson to hurry it. I
Yeah.
said, but we don't tell another shop how to run
How
their
to
shop.
how to run their business. Yeah.
He works with us real good. If he sends one, redoes it, and there's a problem, there's no problem with him re-warrantying it.
Right.
Same thing with a company that a lot of trucks that we use have electric motors on,
Okay.
and they're battery operated.
Okay.
And these techs will go out. They're supposed to plug them in every couple of weeks
Okay.
to turn a battery charger on its in.
Sure.
They don't do that. And over time, the batteries just get weaker and weaker and weaker.
Mm-hmm.
But when that battery's getting weaker, that motor that it's running is drawing high amperage to run.
Right.
So your batteries are going dead and you're killing your motor. So, we'll put new batteries in it, and a week later, the motor will burn. But we got a place over there that we get batteries from, and he rebuilds motors. And the same thing. We take a motor over there, throw it on the bench, and it's usually ready the next day.
Wow.
So that helps us turn
Yeah.
around and keep our customers happy.
It's a nice business arrangement. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
So how many technicians do you currently have that's like active right now?
I got 5 guys up.
5 guys for that many trucks.
Yeah. Like I
Wow.
said, we take care of from here to the other coast.
Yeah.
That's Spectrum big.
And Spectrum, I'm familiar with the very large number of trucks in Spectrum's fleet. So yeah.
They just got, well, they've started coming in. They're getting 98 brand new bucket trucks.
Oh my gosh.
And the fleet administrators told us that they're not getting rid of 98. They used to like get a new truck and get rid of the old truck.
The old one. Yeah.
Now he said the new ones come in, the guy moves out of it. He's going to set up where they come in here, and we basically do a rebuild on.
Wow.
Check all the cylinders, control cords, and everything, and redo them. And I call it what we used to do in the Coast Guard midlife.
Okay.
Because when your boat, a ship was so old,
Mm-hmm.
it would go into the yards for like several months to a year,
Yeah.
and it's get completely redone.
Wow.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to redo the cylinders. But when I say redo them, we're not going to put new ones in.
Right.
We're going to get them rebuilt, put a
Machine
rebuilt
them,
cylinder
put
in
them
there,
back together.
put new
Yeah.
control cords and hoses in and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and send it back out.
Interesting. So, and you also mentioned something a little bit earlier too about Google. Now, one of the other misconceptions that people have is that trade skills is very old, very dirty type work. Then, of course, it can get, dirty. You do have to get your hands involved. You do have to, bend your back a little bit every once in a while. But have you seen technology kind of improve trade skills over time? Like, how has it been with the integration of technology?
Well, a lot of it is different equipment that we can,
Gotcha.
um, chain falls, a lot of stuff that we have to lift is heavy.
Right.
One battery on one of them trucks is 180 pounds.
Wow.
So, I try to teach you guys, you've got a boom here,
Mm-hmm.
and wherever you're at, you'll have more than one truck. And I teach
Mm-hmm.
guys, use that boom,
Mm-hmm.
use that chain hoist, don't break your back getting a 180-pound battery out. When there's a boom right there, you go, strap up to it and pick it up and put it in the truck.
Right.
Me and Mike made it's a winch that'll go in their trailer hitch. And
Okay.
do the same thing there.
Oh, nice.
And then the other thing that helps is the internet, looking up stuff, wiring diagrams and stuff. Years
Okay.
ago,
Okay.
every bucket truck is supposed to have a manual in it
Mm-hmm.
by law,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't. They get lost or whatever. And the other thing is, a lot of them, there's not information you need. There's not good wiring diagrams.
Right.
Now we got where we can, get on the internet and find the right wiring diagram, and we've actually got them blown up into poster size.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Got them in the office down there so you can read them.
Yeah.
But that's what helps a lot, is being able to go to the internet and get information from the internet. Because before, I don't know, there used to be a call. I forget the name of it, but it used to be for cars, maybe.
Okay.
And my brother had a wall up,
Wow.
all different years, cars, models, and everything. And if you needed to know something,
Yeah.
you had to go find a book that fit for that car and
Right.
go through the book and find it. The internet come along and started getting a lot easier. And my nephew that worked for him, he was also
Mm-hmm.
on. He's like, Dad, We got the internet right here. We got a computer. And Bob was just so old school that he's like, he had to go get his green books.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I
But
know. I'm
and that's
very
the other thing,
familiar with that.
that's another way that you get a lot of guys in trades is um, through their family.
Okay, okay.
My brother Bob,
Yeah.
he had one son that was a mechanic, and then he had a stepson who became a mechanic and actually took over his shop when Bob retired.
Um,
And then he had a daughter. She went to college to be a nurse,
gotcha.
and then got another son. He went to college for I think 7 years to be a
Wow.
chemical engineer. Makes real good money as a
Hmm.
chemical engineer. But my son asked him one day, he says, "So how's your job, Mike?" And he says, "Effing sucks." He says, "I hate my job." So I went to school for 7 years to get a job that I hate.
Wow.
I'm like, I'm doing good. He's got more money than me, but he's got a lot more headaches than me.
Exactly. You
He'll
know,
probably be dead before me, the rate he's going. Because
it's like
he
what,
comes down here and he's on the phone constantly. I
yeah.
mean, constantly.
I mean, yeah, you're working hard to afford all this stuff, but if you're not able to enjoy it at some point, then what's the point?
Right.
Yeah. But okay, so we're getting close to wrapping this up now. I just wanted to two last things I wanted to talk about. So you mentioned micro, which is kind of where we started getting the idea of the whole PR problem that the trades are facing right now. Do you agree with the work that micro is doing?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because I find some of the stuff he does interesting.
right.
Some of it's kind of okay, okay. But like a couple of months ago, he was doing stuff and he was building an overpass,
Okay.
right? And I'm watching TV and watching these guys up on this overpass. And I'm like,
Sure.
that's the overpass they're building right down the road from us.
No way.
Yeah. And then they finally said where they were at. And it's
Right.
this overpass they're building here in Clearwater.
Yeah.
But just from looking in the background, I knew where he was at. And he's teaching them, how to put rebar in and tying it together the right way and
Sure.
everything. And that's another thing you talk about technology.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's got Mike Rowe hand twisting these wires.
And twisting it, yeah.
So then he goes, after the show's gone on a little bit, then he shows him this gun they got. Well,
And it
you
just
pull the trigger and it spins the
yeah.
wires and you're done. And Mike Rowe's looking at him like, well, why didn't you show me that in the first place? No, I wanted you to learn how to really do it.
But you agree with them that yeah, we do need to address this, and it is something
Yes.
that we need to get more people involved in. Yeah.
Right. Or it's just gonna
Okay.
get,
Okay.
getting somebody to do what you need done is gonna get harder and harder over time.
Okay. And last thing before we end, do you have any last kind of wise words that could encourage people, especially younger people, to want to get into the trades?
Well, I would say, you got to look inside and see what makes you happy,
Right.
and then look at what you're doing. Okay, there's goods and bads to every job. You know,
Right.
some people might get a job in an office and they're happy in there. Some people might be miserable. When I worked in the warranty department at the boat place,
Mm-hmm.
I had to go in and sit in an office all day long. My boss would get mad if I left the office.
Wow.
And there was two of us that were strictly warranty. He did warranty, but there was two of us, and then there was two parts, a guy and a girl, and
Mm-hmm.
we were all in a little office. And you know, I had to be dressed up, pants and a button up. You could wear a shirt like this,
Mm-hmm.
but you couldn't wear jeans. You could buy a brand new pair of jeans. You couldn't wear a pair of jeans, and that's pretty much all I wear. But you got to really look at what makes you happy and what you
Right.
can deal with. There's pitfalls of this job, and I get on our guys all the time. You can get hurt.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
you need to think what you're doing. Don't do stuff that's gonna get you hurt. You know, I've seen I've seen guys get hurt, but I've
Oh
seen
yeah.
guys get hurt in car accidents right on the
Yeah.
road. You know,
Yeah. Almost every job, you have some degree of danger if it's a
yeah,
job that you have to use your hands in, right? So yeah, of course.
look at
But
the World Trade Center.
yeah,
How
yeah,
many of them people went to work and didn't think they were gonna get hurt that day?
yeah. But then we have people like you who will teach, who will help to demonstrate, and it's important that we actually listen to you guys and look at what you're doing and try to understand. All right, well, this is how it's
Yeah.
done,
And
right?
there's guys out there that want to do stuff like that or that are
Sure.
interested in stuff like this. My son, he's 30 some years old,
Right.
and him and his buddy are rebuilding a truck
Nice.
and an old Chevy truck. And they call me all the time. Hey, Dad, uh, we want to check the rear end fluid because we had the back cover up. We got to fill it.
Right.
We can't get the plug out. And I told him, stop right there. Don't do nothing else. Because anything you do is going to make it worse. I said, let me come out there and look at it.
Right.
And I went out there, and that's where you teach guys like, it was tight. It wasn't coming out.
Right.
So I had to get a torch and heat it up.
Right.
We got to teach these guys, how to work a torch, how to weld.
Wow.
We got guys here that they like to weld, but they need to learn to weld.
Of course.
And you can go to a school and learn to weld, a trade school, and they'll
Yeah.
teach you the basics, but still, once you get out of that school, you still got to
Still a
know
lot
how
to
to
learn.
weld.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They teach you how to weld. Here's a workbench, there's the welder, weld
Mm-hmm.
this metal together. Okay. Now put it on a truck, make it upside down welding and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta take a few burns.
Of
Never that.
course. Yeah. All right. Very
No, I
nice.
mean I've like I said, I'm 65 years old. I enjoy what I do.
Great.
I always have. The,
Yeah.
the only the only two jobs I didn't like were the warranty department at the boat place.
Right.
I was stuck in an office all day. And the other one was when I worked for the town of Bronson.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that was only because I had to deal with 5 people that didn't know anything about what went on
Gotcha.
in town. You know,
Very nice.
so
Okay.
that's just
All
and
right.
I had guys working for me, I got guys that, especially in the Coast Guard, guys that called me up, and I still talk to them to this day.
That's amazing.
And we work together. So
Fantastic.
it's got to be for you, but like what y'all are doing, you got to get the word out there that
Yeah.
there are trade schools and they need skilled tradesmen,
All right.
or it's gonna freeze up. And like we talked, yeah, I got a nice car, a nice truck,
Mm-hmm.
got a Corvette, I got a
Mm-hmm.
motorcycle, I got a camper. My son used to ask me, Dad, why don't we buy a boat? I said, no. You want a boat? Join the Coast Guard. They got a whole
Yeah,
bunch of.
you've been on enough boats.
And I used to have to go out when I didn't want to go.
There you go. You've had your time.
Our official motto was, you have to go out. You don't have to come back. And,
Oh,
and trust me, there was days I was in the Gulf of Mexico that I was scared.
wow.
And anybody goes out in the Gulf of Mexico in a storm
Yeah.
says, I wasn't scared. You're lying,
Oh my gosh.
because you don't know what that boat's going to do out there. And I also have a good friend that'll verify it.
Yeah.
He's a commercial fisherman, and he had I think his boat was 55 foot.
Okay.
His was in the shop, and he took another guy's boat
Yeah.
to do some fishing, and it was around 50, 55 foot. And they went out on Monday morning, and they go out, and they were only going to fish for the week because he had closing on his house on Friday.
Okay.
And he went out, and nobody heard from him. Friday, his wife calls me and says, Jimmy, what do I have to do? He said, John went out in the boat. He told me he'd be back Friday morning. He's
Yeah.
not back. And I said, have you called the Coast Guard? She said, yeah. And I said, let me call the Coast Guard. So, because I wasn't in the area where he was at, I was at maintenance team then.
Okay.
So I called down to the group office. I said, hey, I said, boat such and such. He goes, yeah. I said, okay. I said, the fishing's not good and he's staying out there an extra day. And it just so happened that the guy that was in there, I knew him at the
Okay.
group office.
Right.
And I said, it's not a matter of he's fishing an extra day. He told his wife he would be back Friday. He's not back. Something's wrong.
Right.
And he said, he goes, oh, we're on it. And I said, all right. I said, just don't let nobody blow it off the good fishing. He
Yeah.
goes, no, we don't. I said, we have done it. But
Wow.
I seen, and they searched for him all day Friday, all day Saturday, and found him Sunday morning. Him and another guy in what they call an ice box. It's just a big wooden box that's insulated real good that they throw the ice in to put on the fish.
Yeah.
He said he got up Tuesday morning and the whole back end of the boat's underwater and
Oh
it's
my
going
God.
in. He said there was nothing they could do. He said they pushed the ice box off and grabbed every water jug they could. They tried to get a radio call out, but the electronics and the power was out. And they got in that box for days. There
Oh my
was three of
gosh.
them. And after 2 days, the one guy says, next boat I see, I'm swimming for it.
Yeah.
And Ron told him, no, stay with this ice box. They'll
Yeah.
find this. He goes, nope. And that poor kid there, that was going to be his last fishing trip.
Oh my
He
gosh.
told his mom, no, I'm going to do this one and then I'm going to quit fishing. So they never found him, never found his body or nothing.
Oh my
He
goodness.
saw a boat and he was going to swim for it. John kept telling him, no, you can't do
No,
that.
you can't do that. Yeah.
So John gave him his knife and said, here, if I'm not going to be able to stop you, at least take my knife. And they had, when the boat sank, they had 4 gallons of water.
Yeah.
When they got picked up, they had 5 gallons of water because they had extra jugs with them. And John said, when it rained, we were filling up them jugs with water.
Sure. Yeah.
He goes, and by the way, a square box don't float real good in the Gulf of Mexico. He said it turned over on us a couple times. And they had to right it and get the water out of it, get back in it. But they
Wow.
found him Sunday morning and brought him in, and he had lost 22 pounds just sitting in that box. Then the next thing he did, he sold his boat
Yeah.
that was in the shop
Yeah.
and bought a old Ryder truck and started moving furniture for people up in Georgia.
I don't blame him.
And he's still in Georgia to this day.
I don't blame him. Oh my
Nope.
gosh.
So I'm done with fishing.
Wow. Wow. Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. And
Nice talking to you.
it was great to talk to you. And, hopefully we can get that word out there and get some more people interested. And
Yep.
yeah, let's see where we go from here. But no, thank you again so much. This was really insightful. Thank you
And
so much.
like Mike Rose show, dirty jobs. Some
Yeah,
of them are dirty, but
they're
they got to be
necessary.
done, and you can
Yeah,
make money doing it. If you're willing to
exactly.
get dirty. I've
Yeah.
never had a problem getting dirty.
And that's the thing, just it doesn't take much. You can get dirty, you can get clean. Easy. No.
When I was in high school, the sewer line behind our house was messed up.
Yeah.
Me and my brother were out there digging the hole. My dad
Wow.
didn't have a plumber there with a backhoe.
Wow.
Here's shovels. Thanks, Dad.
Oh my gosh, Jimmy, thank you so much. All the
All right.
best to you and enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend.
All right. Thank you, man.
All
Nice,
right,
like I
take
said,
care.
nice talking with you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.